They're on Market Street. I saw that weekend. Did you get the paper for the minutes for the fire board on your desk? I left the paper on your desk with those.
Oh, look.
Was the prior minutes from the fire.
I think I did. Let me check.
No, I usually don't come for another 20 minutes, but since we shortened everything up.
It's kind of nice. As long as we can fit everything in, right?
Right.
You have a time.
I have to look, wait, because I would have probably saved it in, but
She worked all day or something.
working.
Right. Oh, she's still at work. Oh, cool.
Whenever you're ready, Chuck.
We'll call the finance meeting to order. Roll call.
Keller,
Present.
McCreary,
Present.
Cosgray.
Present. Also attending the mail. Brian Holbrook. Rogers. We're gonna do his last name. We're gonna Brad, yeah. We're gonna go by and wait for him. And we also got Councilmember Rick and Debbie. And visitors, goals, keep staying within the 2023 appropriation. I think we're doing a pretty good job on that. Old business none, if somebody has something. Oh, yeah. Okay, the minutes of August 14th. Second. I got a motion, second, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call.
McCreary,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Keller.
Yes. Okay. Nobody has any, we'll go right in the new business. And review the monthly plan. Brian.
Okay, last month we ended up with an overall balance of $2,739,109.76. We had total receipts of 417,000, checks, payments of 478,000, and a couple non-sufficient, or actually one non-sufficient check that got returned last month. And then deposited transit to $959 and outstanding checks of $149,000. So pretty much it for the reconciliation. On page 3, you'll see the outstanding checklist. And then receipts of the outstanding receipts, a couple of credit card transactions for water and sewer. And then starting on after the reconciliation, you have 6 pages of check register. Like I said, $478,000 worth of checks last month. The big one outstanding was 138,000 of that. 138,000 was one check. That was for the payment on the bonds. They're due February and September of every year.
3 more years to go. You know offhand?
On the bonds,
Yeah.
until year 2040.
And, oh, that's
The one we renewed a couple years ago. That was for 20 years. I guess other than that, really check. Anything sticks out? Of course, there was a $19,000 check to Warwood last month. That was for a new pump. That was for a pump out the wastewater plant. No questions on the check register or anything? Okay.
You said 16,000 were for the pump.
No, that was 19,000.
What's the 16 for the B3 company?
Well, those are just the 3 or 4 invoices that we get billed for the Washington Street project, Monroe Street project. Did I say Washington? Okay, Washington, Monroe,
Eastside.
East Side. Yeah, there was 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, once a month.
Nobody has any questions? Good.
Okay, moving on to the metrics of the finance. Star Ohio received $2,507, well, rough $2,508. Rita last month was $128,579.
Going back to Rita, we're not spending any money, so all this in is building it up.
Yes, it just adds to the balance.
Why don't we have to put out?
Right now, there's like, well, it was on that one page in the reconciliation. 541,000 is in the Star Ohio account. Let's see, 8 months out of the year, that's what, 60, is that 60%, 67%? So as you can see, we're well below, but that's gonna change. I got a pay request last week for the Monroe project, not Monroe, Granville Street. So that's gonna change. That's gonna be coming in. We have to, it just came in last week, the first pay request on that, so. And of course, revenue stats for the general fund. And really, if I showed you all the funds, they're all at where they should be at this time of year, so. And then there's the appropriation report. Like I said, general funds at 53%. I mean, there's a couple of payment to county health districts, 99%. Well, that's because that's taken out twice a year by when we get our property taxes, and that's automatic deduction. So that's done for the year. So that's what we spent. So that was our annual payment to the county health district. I think next year's budget for them is increased again. So they're going to take another. I can't remember what the exact number is. It's below 13, but it's above what we paid this year.
Yeah, no more what they do, yeah.
How did we fare with the pool this year?
It just ended last week, and I was out pretty much all last week, so I haven't looked at the numbers yet. But I do know revenue projected wise, we exceeded revenue projections. Wages were within our budget.
How did staffing go? Was everything pretty smooth this year? I know at the beginning we were well staffed and everything went okay.
We had enough staffing. I'm sure that some of the kids that left in August when school started,
Yeah.
but Emma had enough employees to hang around and help out over the weekend.
I know that last day, late day, and that way it was pretty packed.
Did they exceed their?
I don't know if they exceeded or not, but I know
I didn't see it posted. Which ones?
a lot of kids were there.
I mean, there were some trials and tribulations with the staffing over there, at the beginning of the year, but I think it smoothed out somewhat.
Any questions on appropriations?
I'll move to accept the report.
Okay, got a motion in a second. Do we have any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call.
McCreary,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Keller.
Yes, motion carries. Okay. Take care, do good. Anybody have anything they want to bring up or got anything on finance? All right, hearing nothing. Next meeting will be October the 9th.
I guess I guess I can bring up one thing before we go. I'd like to have a rough draft of the budget, next year's budget.
What?
A rough draft
Okay,
of next year's budget by next month's meeting.
you gonna put it together and move forward?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Is that gonna include like the pay increases
Sure has to.
for next year?
Mhm. I mean, you usually start looking at it in October.
Yeah,
I mean, there's only
yeah, we need it.
6 meetings left.
Yeah.
You gotta do it soon.
But
Yeah, we don't do it
Christmas
last
Day is
year. So 5 more meetings, we get to do it soon.
So
long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Six.
So that's the goal for next month, is to give you a rough draft.
Good. All right, anybody else have anything? Okay, the next meeting will be, like I said, October 9th, starting at 6 p.m. And y'all can be, sent the meeting is adjourned.
We gotta wait to see that.
It says immediately following, so we don't really need to, I mean, tell it when it's not in there. So I call the rules committee meeting to order. Roll call.
Foreman,
Yes, present.
Schaffner,
Present.
and Litz is absent.
There's no one here to make the first one or the second. That's
Might be July.
Okay. So the July meeting, I'm the only one here that was at the July meeting, so we can't approve those minutes because then we have to stay.
No, she was at the July meeting. She wasn't. She,
Oh, then it was all.
it was the August meeting you missed.
Okay. So can I get an approval on the July minutes from the July meeting?
I'll need to approve July minutes.
4 seconds.
Schaffner,
Yeah.
Foreman,
Yes. Okay, and then the August minutes, that was at that meeting, so we can't approve those minutes. at this point.
okay,
Push that back.
okay.
Okay, so we have an attendance, Ms. Schaffner, myself, Mayor Darrell Reedy, Village Administrator Brian Holbrook, Deputy Chief Brett Rogers, Brian Bidler, and council members Keller, McCreary, and Cosgrove. We have no visitors present. Goals, employee evaluation, we tabled. I think we satisfied ourselves on the last meeting, didn't we?
I think so. I'm still making some notes. I can pass these around.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we decided we would do quarterly reviews without a
Quarterly.
numbering system, and the village administrator would conduct that. And I think that as far as I was concerned, we had that handled.
yeah, a couple of things I want to mention. As far as the village administrator handling, you mean like the supervisors would rate the people that work for them, and then it would all collect to the village administrator.
So there'd be
And
sewer
then
plant
you
would do their own, water plant would do their own, and the streets department would do their own. And there's a peg and mowers under street department.
For now, yes, that's it, yes. And then I would rate each of the three supervisors. So I'm sorry, we finished. Mr.
No, go ahead, yes.
So just in copy because I didn't push the right buttons. But some things I highlighted in the front, the word poor, there's a couple of things I'd like to change about the form. Unsatisfactory is much more, and what I tried to do here was make this more of a positive process than a negative process, and I'll point out those things. I made some notes here about work quality. We talk about KSA's knowledge, skills, and abilities. That's why I highlighted here. A lot of these other things have to do with personality and also with interpersonal skills, which I think are good. But there are some specifics like knowledge, skills, and ability. I think we need to target. I put service worker laborer up at the top in job title, who works for the street supervisor. And what I'd like for you to see, if you agree with this, is to have like the service worker laborer is going to have different skills, going to have different things that they do. The same for our water operators and our wastewater operators will have different skills. So I'd like to key in on those. It doesn't take anything away from the general requirements of each one of them, but it'll be more specific to that job. Does that sound like? Okay. On the other side, I made some notes here. Attendance, these are things that I thought about when I was putting this together. You get a bonus point for having not missed work. There's a couple things that come to mind. First of all, if you're sick, I don't want you coming to work because, especially after COVID, all we're going to do is infect each other. So I think there's a reasonable standard that we can meet without a zero standard, if that makes sense. And when you start talking FMLA, there's a whole myriad of reasons that people will miss work. It either has to do with newborns, it has to do with family members, has to do with elderly parents, and of course it has to do with themselves. So I want to be careful not to focus too much. I believe me, I understand the standard of zero. that's where I started, many, many years ago. So I get that, but I want to be careful that we don't, do something we shouldn't, if that makes sense, as far as those situations. I think we can, I didn't write this on here, but I meant to documentation. Yeah,
Some type of, that they see the urgent care.
Right. Right. Now a little further, disciplinary action, it says -1 point for each disciplinary action, but I would point out that there are different types of disciplinary action. I didn't reference our specific disciplinary policy, but I know there's such thing as verbal counseling, there's a written reprimand, there's suspensions, there are different things. If each one of those only counts as 1 point, you see why some of them will be more serious. If you get suspended for a day or two, it's probably a good reason for that. That'd be something that would be more serious than a verbal counseling where you may have been verbally counseled about being late for work or some other reason. And commendations, I don't see any reference for any commendations. So I'm not saying that, all I'm saying is that should be taken into consideration as well. Okay. Maybe that's a place for bonus points. And commendations come in many forms, and it's something that I think we need to focus on here with our employees. A phone call comes in, somebody says, "Thanks, hey, you did a good job," and that's an end of it. They might pass it on to the supervisor or to the individual, but it's not documented anyway. And sometimes we need to do that. I think at the end of the year, we probably tally up the commendations or good responses to things are going to be higher than the negative ones. Not just per individual, but across the board. When we get down to goals, I threw some things out here I'd like to include: career counseling and personal and professional development. I think it's good, even if people don't take advantage of a lot of things, it's good to talk to them about. It's good to kind of motivate them. And it might be, I know part of the incentive program that you have here is like getting your CDL or getting another certification. Those are things that we can talk to people about, or even get a operator, equipment operator training, things like that.
Are there like continuing education things available for like the water plant operators and for like that?
Yeah, they have to have certain training to renew their certificates and everything. There's a lot of, for them, there's a lot of rural water. There's all kinds of things out there for them to attend that are not just for certification, but they're helpful for what they're doing in the field. For our laborers, not as much, but I think if we work at it, we can find some that'll be good for them. So I want to include those. And then again, the attendance bonus, that's all fine and good, but I want to be careful that, there's a difference between somebody who works for 8 weeks, gets a full day and then takes it, and somebody who, and you guys are familiar with those types of scenarios. That's fine if that's the way they want to use it. It's not a good idea, I don't think, but that's different than somebody who has to take off, maybe to take mother or father to a doctor's appointment or those kinds of things. So I just want to be sure that we're rewarding the right things and not.
So are you, just to clarify,
Sure.
are you saying that anybody who uses their FMLA would not count toward any kind of attendance?
Not necessarily.
negative?
Not necessarily. Yeah, it's kind of a tightrope because some of the scenarios I was mentioning, like a sick parent. Well, are there other family members who can tend to that parent, or is it by choice that this person could,
Okay, well, I'm just going to throw this out there.
Sure.
So if they have FMLA for it, you can't really do anything about that, right?
you can't that they can have the time. No. System in the form of a review. I don't think so. I don't think that would be a smart thing to do first.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so you would not hold any FMLA against them?
I don't
Okay.
think so. Now, are there cases where people abuse FMLA?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Yeah.
I was wondering though, now that we're on that topic though, I know in other government agencies, where someone's chronically ill or has a severe life challenge, where employees are able to donate FMLA days to other
Yes.
employees. Do we have a policy?
Yes, I don't think we do.
Or just recent times,
We have a sick leave donation policy.
We do have a sick leave.
Yes. FMLA is not a separate type leave.
I'm just curious. I'd rather address it before the.
Right.
Yeah, it's defined. Yeah.
Usually what happens is if someone wants to donate, I said, you send me an email. And when I get the email, then I donate to leave and stick it in their personnel file. So
Okay.
It just has to be well documented that way.
Yeah.
So the next version you see will contain a lot. And I would say that I'd like to see our folks using this by the end of this year, jumping into 24.
On the goals,
Yes, ma'am.
is one self-directed and one directed by a supervisor? Are they both independently directed or a supervisor who writes the goals?
That's why I broke it down to and professional development.
I mean, so are they writing one and then the supervisor is assisting them? Like, this is an area in particular I'd
Yeah.
like for you.
I don't know where these came from because 1 and 2 there, if I had somebody with this many disciplinary issues, they probably have one really big one. And if the other one up here with the sick leave, if somebody's gone that much, for long, I don't know why those lined up like they did, is what I'm saying. The form, I don't know why those did. You can certainly have a lot more goals than, and I think part of this would be helping our supervisors along to say, listen, you need to talk to your people about setting goals. You need help with that. You need to you have questions about how to do that, because
And that's why I was just curious because it seems like it would be beneficial for them to write one and at least one and then the supervisor. At
Right.
least write one. So
Right.
it's a combination of something that's self-directed and something that they're seeing on the website. Whatever.
Yeah.
This is a goal I'd really like to get.
yes, and yeah, and so we could do that. We could break it down. Now, we've all worked in situations where we've either supervised or been supervised by someone who's given us that push in the right direction, or at least in a direction to do a little better. That's all I have on that.
And then also goals,
Mhm.
and we discussed this some at the last meeting about finalizing the VA job description.
Yes.
You indicated you were struggling with exactly how to satisfy the needs of council on that. And I guess I wonder if we've figured out a way to accomplish that.
Well, there's a couple of versions, and one of them has to do with this, I guess, exploration of what was termed assistant VA and some other things. In other words, where they pulled part of the responsibilities, and then I think that it morphed into administrative assistant type position, kind of thing. And I think from what I see, I think there are some things that can be delegated quite easily, like the enforcement stuff. The zoning stuff could be, with the right person with the right skills.
Does that person exist in our current staff?
No, No, we talked about, I think, was it last council? We talked about a full-time position to replace Barb Smith. Yeah. So and it looks, honestly, it looks like that's where we're headed.
I think we had, well, I thought, when I was reading the minutes, it sounded like we talked about a possible part-time position. And you were gonna post an offer, a job.
Yeah. I'd ask,
Before that.
I'd ask Brian to get with me on some things because what I envision this person, whether it's part-time or full-time, and that really comes down to the numbers.
Right.
But someone who could do payroll, because we talked about that. Cross-training, yeah. And quite honestly, Brian's position is probably the position that needs the most cross-training because he is the only one who can't do a lot of things as far as payroll, the minutes, even though we have somebody who could assist with those, he's the one who is responsible by virtue of statute, has to do those things. So I'm hoping that we can find somebody that will fit.
Do we have a job posting up?
No, we don't.
Okay.
I have a weird thought about some,
Let's get that done this week.
have you ever
We can
thought
talk about
of seeing if there are, of course, in the summertime, not so much, but maybe when colleges start back up, to see if there would be government students who would like an internship and a
I've actually worked in those situations where I worked before Capital University. We would have interns come in and work for us, and a few from like Ohio State. So I'm sure we could reach out to OUL, COTC, some of the ones that are close to us. The thing about that is to have a project or to have something, because there has to be a finishing point for them, or at least a handing off point for them so that it can either carry on or.
Now, my next question is this administrative, I don't think I was here when we were discussing, so this, the administrative assistant position. It's not a secretarial, it is, or it's not a secretarial position?
Oh, I think it has to be.
It is, is it?
Yeah, it has to be based on the work.
The work he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we could list this as a work in progress and just leave it on here.
Yes, sir. Okay. So
Okay, moving on to old business. I think Deb, you were the one that had the most concerns about village alleys and who still.
Here I am right now, is I wanted to see, and I don't think anybody's found it as far as I know, but something in writing that we need, some kind of a policy or ordinance or something in writing about the village, about the alleys.
are we talking about what types of alleys and what they?
What's our responsibilities on
Yeah.
currently used alleys? What's our responsibilities on abandoned alleys, which I'd say is none, and what's our responsibility on unimproved alleys? And do we have a policy on those
Yeah.
three? Those three exist in the village, and what's our policy on each?
I have not found a policy that addresses them in that way.
I would say the only one that's really of any significant importance is what's our policy going to be on currently open approved alleys? Are we going to spend resources maintaining them, or are we not?
Well, same with unimproved, if we own it.
Unimproved, my understanding, and I think there is a policy on this, if you want it open, you have to bring it up to standards.
Yes.
Then the village takes it over from there.
Yes.
But it sounds like the village's policy is we're not maintaining approved alleyways. At least that's been my understanding the entire time I've lived in.
That's why I
Yes.
want to see anything that we have in writing, and if there is nothing, then at some point, I think we have to have something.
Let me research that more specifically, and I may reach out to Mr. Faco too on that as well. But yeah, maybe I didn't understand if you needed the language on it, but I'll find it.
Well, I mean, I kind of dropped off base for your for a while, so.
It's understandable. We all want to do that once in a while.
Okay, so we have a course forward on addressing alleys. So we can leave that on here under old business. And is there any new business? Okay, moving on. Our next meeting will be held on the second Monday of October 9th at 6:30 p.m. or immediately following the finance committee. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will move to adjourn.
Foreman seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Maybe we should do council visit.
Meantime, do some research. Anything?
Okay, so we'll stop video. Recording's paused. I'll mute myself. Hopefully I hit it.
So the recording pull
Yeah, I know, but I hit it. There we go.
on. Oh, there it is.
I'd like to have a 30-second pause for people that died on 9/11, people that are still passing on because of it, all the first responders, and all before the prayer. Thank you, everyone. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order. Please roll call, please.
Cosgray,
Present.
Foreman,
Present.
Keller,
Present.
Litz is absent, McCreary.
Present.
Schaffner.
I have the approval of the minutes of August 28th, 23.
Former makes a motion, we approve the minutes as read.
McCreary seconds.
Do I have a discussion? Roll call, please.
Foreman,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Cosgray.
Yes.
Approval of the agenda.
Well, we need to make a modification to add that ordinance.
No, that was on,
On there.
it was on there.
Former makes a motion to approve the agenda as read.
Schaffner seconds. Roll call. Oh, discussion, please. Roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
Some visitors, we have Mr. Ellis, we have. Oh, I remember this, Bobby. Yeah, there you go, Kenny George. And then we have a. Mr. Ellis is, what's his name? Elsie, Charles Elsie. Mr. George, do you have anything to say tonight?
Yeah, I need to stand up.
Sure, at the mic, I want to hear you.
Since beginning of summer, my neighbor at, what is that, 121?
Yeah, 121.
You all know my heart breaths. Yeah. We've had trouble with them, with the police, he won't mow his yard. The main thing is they haven't done anything with his trash in 3 months. I have pictures of last Tuesday. Brian's got them. I don't know if you got them on the computer, but I have pictures of last week's and then now this week's. And I don't know if Jeff Whitaker's the owner, but it's the rental property where the trash is. And I showed you out the hall 2 weeks ago, still hasn't been picked up. And all they do is keep adding to it. I'll bring them up. I can't put them up there, but we've been dealing with this for 3 months. We've got coons, skunks. I sit on my porch with a BB gun and keep the skunks out of my yard. That's how many are in there. He's had squatters live there in that Japanese barns. Everybody knew that? You knew that. He had a squatter lived up there for 3 months, was it, Brett? Before they finally got rid of him. And then they found somebody in his upstairs apartment living up there that he didn't even know was living up there. I think he got arrested, didn't he, Brett? Didn't he have a warrant? This is just every day. And it's been going on since he brought those renters in. And I don't know, do I pass it around? This is 2 weeks ago. And this is right out by the road. That's not all of it. There's more over here. There's 2 or 3 garbage bales over here with no lids on, stuff spilling out. Right, you see it. You see it. Now this. And this is 3 months worth of garbage. When I sit on my front porch, I can smell it. When I sit on my back porch, I can smell it. And I live a house away from this. And I've been down to Brian. Brian's sick of seeing me. And I've tried to be diplomatic and not get angry and not get this. What I want to say to all you guys is, if it was one of your neighbors, this wouldn't be there. I don't think it would. I'm not, this is just kind of, Brian says we can't do anything about it. We can't get a Baltimore truck, hire a couple of guys, go over there, load it up, take it out to micro. We're not allowed to do that.
We can, but there's, and I've got the abatement law in front of me, so we can discuss that. But
And then-
it's not just, I can't just tell my guys to go do it.
Right, but my thing is I've been complaining about this for 3 months. How much longer is it gonna be? Is it gonna be,
Has the town heard of that? 'Cause
I go to Brian every time. I've been down here, I bet 6 times.
He's got warrants out for his arrest.
He won't answer his door.
Yeah.
When you go up to knock on the door, he will not answer his door. The cops have been there 3 or 4 times trying to get him to answer his door. He won't do it. But no one has gone to the renter.
That's why I was saying, why don't we go to, you went to the owner and tell, okay, not the renter, the owner.
Right. So it's the renter's trash. Jeff's trash sits in front of his garage. And I think within the last 3 weeks, he's quit paying his Rumpke bill because they don't even stop. They drive right by him. But what started it was they threw a sofa out there. And you know, the trash people won't pick anything up like that unless you wrap it in plastic. So when they threw it out there, the next day I walked over to the rental and said, ma'am, you know, you have to wrap that in plastic or they won't take it. Oh, okay. Well, that was 3 months ago. And they just keep adding trash onto that. And now this layer of trash that you see now will be tore up by tomorrow night and all over the street in everybody's yard if the wind blows, and all the animals will be in it. And then next week, it'll be new bags piled on top of those. So everything underneath is rotten and tore over. And I don't know about you guys, but when I come home from work, I go down Washington Street and turn on Liberty. And I see that every day. When I leave for work in the morning, I look at that every day. And I'd only look at it, this could give smell-o-vision. You guys would gag. I'm 2 houses down and I'm on my back porch or my front porch. And this has gone on all summer. I pay my taxes. It's just ridiculous that nothing has been done. All we do is go knock on Jeff's door. Nobody answers. Here's a piece of paper. We go. And that's it. Nobody has done anything. And like I said, if it was your neighbor, Rick, something would be done.
I have a neighbor about.
If it was your neighbor, Darla, something would have been done. And-
I had a neighbor.
Yeah.
that was
What do you
similar,
do?
and nothing happened. Because, and it was the owner that we dealt with, and it took years.
I'm not
And
gonna,
it was,
I'm not gonna wait for years.
so I'm just saying.
I have like
it was-
14 pictures on here,
I get it.
and I'm gonna wait like 3 days. And if that's not, I'm putting them on Baltimore Facebook. This is our beautiful town. This is what our council does for us. And I'm gonna put on everything I just told you. This has gone on for 3 months. Would you like this to be your neighbor? And if that don't work, I'll go to the Board of Health or whatever I gotta do. But guys, I am not paying taxes in this town to live in this damn town that I grew up in. I coached 20 years of football in this town. I'm not gonna do this anymore.
All right,
It's over.
we understand. We will see what we can do.
I can tell you what we can do.
Okay,
Now that you're aware of it, Mayor, you suspect the existence of a public nuisance as defined here in the statute, you can convene a board of nuisance abatement. That would include yourself, Joint Fire District Chief, I think there's a third. Anyway, we can convene the board whenever you want.
Okay.
You can do that and look at the situation. I will tell you that letters have been sent out. Warrants are still in effect for Mr. Whitaker. He's just not responsive. And it is getting worse. And I think the problem is that the furniture was taken out. Trash company wouldn't take the furniture. They started throwing trash on top of the furniture, which they won't take because it's on top of the furniture.
And it's
Not
dry.
in a container, and therefore he's feeding rodents. Our code enforcement's been out there taking pictures of the, it is rodent infested, at least the rental property is 121. So it is a problem. It's been a problem. I'm sorry, 201 would be the rental property. But I think we can do something about it.
Okay.
With Mr. Faco's.
Sure, yeah. I'll get with you, Brian, yet this week and we'll get a game plan together. So, do we know, just out of curiosity, whether this gentleman is alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The
So
problem
there's
is,
been a wellness check done?
many times, yeah. Problem is he's not mobile. We can't, because he basically sits in a chair like this,
In a wheelchair.
and he just scoots around on the floor. He's not capable of standing there.
The jail won't take him without a hospital clearance. No hospital, it's not good. Okay. All right.
So he's in essence knows he's got the town by the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows nobody can do anything. He looked at the fire chief one day and said, do you guys really think you could get me out of this house?
Talk to Cooley about that.
Pardon?
He talked to Cooley about that or Casey?
Casey.
Gotcha.
So he's in essence flaunting, in your face and in everybody's face.
Okay. We'll get something together. We'll have him put something together. We'll do the abatement. Give us a few days more than 3. And we'll do something. We'll do what we can do by law.
But there's got to be a way you can get the trash out of it.
Correct. Correct.
Even if the town loads it up, takes it out the micro and dumps it and eats it.
And there is a procedure. for
That's
that.
what
And
the
just
abatement process
call
is.
30% of it in. I don't care. But it's to the point,
I know him.
everybody here has common sense. It's to the point where you're,
That is the abatement process, Kenny. That's what it'll result in.
I'm sorry for getting excited for all of you guys. I really am. I'm normally the most easy guy to get along with.
Don't let him get this guy.
Well, I've been coming to Brian and Brian's been working his butt off.
Right.
And,
I know that.
and we
We've
just-
had conversations about it.
yeah, we just can't.
So,
Right.
And I don't know if you've got a record of the police calls up there, but my Lord, it's got to
Oh, yeah.
be 40 in this summer, let alone the last 28 years I've lived there.
Okay. All right. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Ellis, do you have anything to say tonight?
No.
All right. We are going to go into an executive session. Well, yeah. Maybe.
We'll need a motion from
Yeah.
council to a session for litigation matters.
the next motion, we go into executive session. Will everyone that's in the room currently be allowed in that?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Ellis, you have to step outside. Oh, we need a second.
If you want to wait around.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Who,
Chuck second.
okay,
Discussion and roll call.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Discussion and roll call.
Foreman,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Keller. Oh, I did Keller, sorry. Schaffner. Okay, that means I got to pause. And stop the video again. There. I finally go on and. Okay,
Okay, we're coming out of executive session at 7:50. And our next thing on the agenda is the mayor's report. All I want to do is remind everybody about the farmer's market tomorrow night from 4 to 7. Wednesday at 6:30, Liberty Township Trustees meeting will be at the Liberty Union Auditorium, and that's going to be about the developments that are happening or possibly happening. We have Lane Bryant coming in on Friday, so everybody be aware of all the extra people in town. And the school's letting out early that day. So
What is Lane Bryant?
Oh, not Lane.
not Lane, Luke Bryant.
I leave town for that.
Sorry, Luke Bryant. So be aware of all the extra traffic, and the schools will be letting out early that day. We're not quite sure what time it is, but be aware of all the kitties. And the village administrator report, please.
Yes, here it comes. My apologies, to Brian, not getting that to him ahead of time. So we can work the agenda. Just a few quick things. Pool closed on Labor Day. We've heard good things about the pool all night tonight, so that's good. We're purchasing more equipment for that for the end of the season next year. The Elmwood Johnson Park project, met with two appraisers, an appraiser and two contractors. I got a verbal quote from one of the contractors today for the demolition. I don't have anything in writing yet, but we'll get it. And I really thank you for everything on this, because moving along pretty well. Mr. Keller has agreed to, since his work with the Recreation Committee over all the years, he's agreed to kind of be our front council person on this project.
Thank you.
And, appreciate that. We were over there walking around the other day, taking a look at things, talking about possibilities. It's all good. And there will be a questionnaire posted on the website. I talked to Kelly about that. We can get that posted. Did you have any information you wanted to include on that?
Well, no, but I'd like to proof that.
Yes.
Ahead of time.
It's the same one.
Same one that we
Yes.
received from the advisors?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'd still like to proof it.
Okay, yeah. Sure. Down the streets maintenance, gravel project. I will tell you that we did have to make some adjustments on that project. The other day, we were looking at where the sidewalk was coming up on the side of the street. And it was either going to go through where all the rocks and everything. It would cut right through that, or it was going to be out next to the road. And after studying it for about 24 hours, decided there really was no need for a sidewalk to walk up to the railroad track. So what we did was we stopped it where the apartments are on that be
Is it Grandor Water?
water.
So we stopped the sidewalk before the alley that way then?
Yes, that was. Mr. Alt, Robert Alt, is appreciative of that, because I talked to him, got the message to him, and he called and said he was planning on putting a garage next to that house that he owns there. So it would, if we'd have brought a sidewalk up there, it would have been just a bigger mess. So I think that was the right decision. Holder Road project, that evaluation, I think I sent that paperwork to you for. No, that was not it. I sent you paperwork for the meter reading, right? The flow reports, $4,500. It was in your mailbox. Though.
Okay.
And directional flushing of the hydrants went very well Friday night. I have a video. I'll load it and send it out to y'all. It shows one of our hydrants far out on West Market. It starts flowing. It's very murky brown. By the time the flushing's done, it's clear. And the way those guys do it, I don't know if you know it, take a white cup, one of those styrofoam cups, and they stick it under there and they look at it. And I saw one of them drink it, so I know it's good water. The closer we were to the tower, the more clear chlorine you could smell. Wastewater, we had a little problem down there today. Still haven't got the full report on that. But there are other problems. We had a small leak over on Gordon Avenue today too. That was repaired. Small leak became a big leak, so it took a little bit longer. And there is a boil alert, boil advisory for Gordon Avenue. Okay, until we get to test back tomorrow. There you go, zoning, code enforcement, 120, 200 North Liberty Street. Talking about abatement there. So you'll be glad to see. I got a couple things together for Mr. Foreman. This is only for wastewater treatment plant. Look at that. I don't know if it's exactly like you guys want to see it, but we're starting. We're starting. So I think there's two examples. If you want the flow sheet, I can get you the flow sheet. Okay. Now, by next council, you will have, I'm hoping, all of 23 for wastewater and for water. I'll get those to you. Okay. I know it's been frustrating for me. I appreciate your patience.
This way than all those numbers.
And all the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do understand that I can do different charts with those. Now that I found a template, I can do it much easier. I can do pie charts. I can do whatever you prefer. So if you're looking at a chart and you say that doesn't really tell me anything, tell me, because if it's not telling you anything, it's not doing what it's supposed to.
Well, yeah, we had a chart on the picture. Is the water flow? And
Okay.
How much water left the plant, how much water got filled, so then we knew how much water got lost.
Yeah.
And when I first got on council, that figure shocked me.
Okay, make sure I get that.
It's like 1 million gallons a month. It's more than 1 million.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So whatever came out of water treatment, what was billed,
Yes.
And then,
The difference is what went missing. It's our inventory,
yeah,
basically.
and it was
Yeah.
the one that was a plot like this, like the line.
okay. All right, so there were three lines that did that.
And then
Hard today.
KB.
I didn't do this today. This
Delinquent bills on.
took a little while.
Interesting to see how many people were behind on their bills.
Yeah.
And then sometimes she would say, well, we put one tags this week, so now we only have 2 people. You haven't paid.
So, okay. So do give me feedback on that. I'll try to come up with that one, Mr. Keller. That you said. But we'll see what we can do. Along the water lines, I did have that letter from Mr. Fix.
Yeah.
That you already talked about. Yeah. I've got a letter drafted. It has to do with I&I, and we're going to mail those out. We're just going to go ahead and do it to all the people that were identified in 2019.
Perfect.
Now, if they've corrected it since then, or if the new homeowners, doesn't matter. If there's a problem there, we know that it's being taken care of. I don't know. The number that you're talking about, it's not some pumps and downspouts. It's got to be something more. I don't know what it could be, but it just seems like and we're putting a lot more fluid through our plant than we're taking in.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of our brick manholes are like big stormwater collectors.
Yeah.
And there's a method for a company to come in and line those so that they stop collecting all of the stormwater. I mean, the only thing to do quickly is to put more stormwater structures in, more stormwater infrastructure to try to get that water off, out of the creek as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like 4 different fronts we need to fight on that all at the same time.
Yeah.
One is the homeowners that are discharging. One is failed stormwater or failed sanitary structures that are leaking horribly. And, those are 2, several.
Yeah.
And then the many, many houses that were built with their perimeter drains and other things tied directly to sanitary.
People, when you try to educate them a little bit on the phone a few times, I try to tell them, they say, the plumber came out and checked it, it's working fine. It's not backing up. No, it's not backing up, but it's tied into the sewer line. You don't understand. You try to explain it to them, like
They don't get it. They don't know.
Yeah. Just a couple more things. Take up too much time. That Monroe Street project is awarded to BK Layer. In case you were wondering about that one, that's a county project. Monroe Street. The only other thing I'm going to mention is we've got deferred compensation people coming in on the 21st to talk to. We've got a lot of new employees, and so we're going to have them come in and talk to those folks about that. So I think that's all I have.
I got a question on this Liberty Street.
Yes,
You
sir.
said they, are you going in over and just clean the mess up and put it on the tax? How you?
Once we check all the boxes and do all the things we're supposed to do, which the mayor and Mr. Faker are going to help me make sure that we do, then yes, that's the plan. Is we'll go in with a loader and a couple of trucks, load that stuff up, hit the grass, get it cut down, and then we bill them for every minute, every piece of equipment, everything that goes in. With this gentleman, I think that's probably the only thing that's going to get through.
Yeah, and when someone don't get the mail, they don't care.
They know exactly what.
And the only way they're gonna care, they see money or something they can't do. Sell it
Or cost being assessed to
the cost of tax. That one they got.
Right.
Can the gentleman live himself?
He is. I mean,
Can anyone?
No one wants to go in as a system. I can guarantee you that. The smell is so bad.
Has a referral been made to Adult Protective Services?
Exactly.
The nurse has been there, nursing service has been there, and they made some, but I don't know exactly what, because they called us to go in and check on some. They could.
Adult Protective Services did, or the nurses?
The nurses did. Okay. But she said that they, when I talked to her, she said that they have tried, but. That's Adult Protective Services.
I'll say this about it. He's a difficult person to talk to. Have you talked? Oh, I know you have. He's very difficult to talk to. He I don't know how to phrase it, but he just manipulative and understanding what he says back.
Fiscal officer, please.
I don't have anything else to add tonight.
And Mr. Faco?
One new piece of legislation on the agenda for tonight's meeting, and that's a resolution granting a special use agreement to the Baltimore Downtown Restoration Committee for the use of the various village facilities for the winter market. I included the dates that Brian Bibler forwarded to me. So if those need to be changed, then council can amend the ordinance to make those changes. I did not include emergency language. It wasn't included in last year's resolution. So
Yeah, and when you requested that, you didn't give me, it had a lot of excerpts like day before you're gonna come in, day after. I told Jeff to leave everything the same.
Identical to what we did last year, we could pretty much look at that.
well, the dates have changed.
December 2nd, I think is the actual date of the.
Yeah, I just had Jeff say
That's the
day before, the day after. I said, leave everything the same.
And then two other issues. One I want to bring up for council's benefit, and that has to do with the Sunshine Estates development. The village was contacted recently by an engineering firm for the developer, and was asked was asking the village to review the proposed plans and sign off on those. And an issue has arisen that has not yet been resolved, to my understanding, and that is the issue of the developer utilizing and making improvements to the detention basin that is on the school district's property, on the school's property. Sometime last year, and discussions have been, it's my understanding, discussions have been ongoing between the developer, or were ongoing between the developer and the school district for a period of time. The school district made a proposal for a certain dollar amount for the developer to pay, and several other conditions. The developer was not receptive to that, may have made a counter proposal, which was rejected, and there were no further discussions, to my knowledge, between the developer and the school district. But now, since the developer wants to move forward with this development, and it's land development, and ADR is the engineering firm that he's hired, since they want to move forward with this, that issue needs to be resolved. The issue between the developer and the school district regarding making improvements to the detention pond, so that any additional water that's flowing as a result of the development has someplace to go, basically. So, so the reason I'm bringing that up is because if anybody on council or the mayor has any contact sources with either the developer or anybody on the school board, it may be beneficial to reach out to those individuals and see if there can be some sort of mutual resolution between those parties to resolve those differences and allow the development to move forward. So if anybody needs more specific information, I'd be happy to provide that. So that's one topic. The other topic is with regard to the request to prepare legislation to amend the fence ordinance of the planning and zoning code. The section that deals with the fence being constructed on the lot line is very short. I'll just read it. No fence shall be constructed on the lot line. All fences shall be a minimum of 1 foot from the lot line. If that's being referred to planning and zoning, I can prepare an ordinance in advance of their meeting for them to review, but I need to know what the proposed new language is going to be. So somebody help me out with.
Well, we would eliminate the 1 foot setback and take it to 0.
Okay. So that would allow a fence to be installed on the lot line. So, okay, that's easy enough.
Well, I think also the post, if they put a post, it should be on the owner.
That's already in.
Is it in there?
The
inside.
Okay.
inside of the fence has to be facing the owner, and the decorative or the finished side of the fence needs to be facing outward.
And the finish fence is on the line.
Right.
Yeah, there's another section, Chuck, that addresses that. Says all fences and walls must present the finished non-structural face outward, so that the finished side is facing the public right of way or neighboring lots.
Okay.
So that's already.
Yeah, well, I did.
Yeah. So, okay. And then planning and zoning can make a motion to adopt, to approve that amendment, and then it's going to come back to council. So that ordinance will. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you so much.
That means PNC will need it.
Or
This Thursday.
Yeah.
if that's the only thing on it, I could do it next month. It's not super fast, is it? What are you gonna do?
It doesn't matter to me. I'll be at either meeting.
I
Oh,
see
yeah,
it,
you
but-
are.
if somebody built a fence up there on 256, did they come in and get a permit?
You're on the corner?
Okay. I didn't know they was going to put the fence, between the two neighbors. I think it was going, along 256. Well, not all like, 256. It's about what, 15 feet away from the 256 at least.
You're talking
I
about the
didn't
white
know
fence on the,
Yeah, the white fence.
yeah, it's the back pretty far. if I remember.
Yeah, but I didn't know when they go east and west, they gonna put it on the neighbor, where they gonna put it at?
You mean, where's it gonna stop?
Yeah, and when it makes the other bend,
Trying to remember, I think it goes to the,
1 foot or.
oh,
Or on the property.
yeah, I see what you're saying. It's probably gonna go to the 1 foot because.
Yeah, I didn't know if.
I was thinking I read somewhere that it was the property line. We never did it before.
We talked about it before, it's not.
Okay. That's probably what I saw where it's been brought up.
That's the most updated version of the code.
What I'm just saying, if we're all kind of in agreement,
Yeah.
I mean,
We might want to make them aware that we're getting ready to change that. You want to hold off or?
yeah, you might want to hold off. But that's- I don't, it's just,
So we are gonna have a busy, planning and
take
zoning
you all the way there,
Thursday.
but
Gotcha. Okay, village council committee reports, by me, please.
okay, well, we met tonight, finance, which, everything looks in good order. And our next meeting will be October 9th at 6 o'clock.
Perfect. Service, please.
Service did not meet tonight. Our next meeting is going to be at the 25th at 6 o'clock.
Safety meeting.
Yes, Mayor, safety did not meet this evening. We will be meeting on the 25th following service.
Okay. And the rules, please.
Yes, Mayor, we met tonight, and everyone on council was here, so they're all aware of what was discussed. And our next meeting is October 9th at 6:30 or immediately following the finance.
And public safety reports, police department, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Core 6, that was down, has been repaired with the new water pump, time chain, and all that. Those items is back in service. Our continuing training, where 24-hour required training by the state is moving along well with everyone. The police chief's going to be interviewing an applicant early next week. He's former Fairfield County Sheriff's Office deputy, and also looking hospital police department up there. Schools SROs reported no incidents so far. Trying to get used, meeting the students and going around talking with them a little bit. We're exploring a state grant to help purchase body cameras for officers. We've been asked to assist with the sheriff's department for the Luke Bryant concert on Friday. I think we've got 4 officers that will be helping out with that. The 2024 budget, proposed budget is almost complete. And we'll be submitting some capital improvement requests in along with that as well. We did have drone training and a demonstration of its capabilities a couple weeks ago. Some officers from Franklin County came down and gave us a demo of drones and their uses for something we might want to think about later. And we've had several charges lately filed with the prosecutor's office, and we also did a drug interdiction with the major crimes unit on last Tuesday that went really well. Had several officers undercover and otherwise in town, and got some arrests out of that. And that's all good. Any questions for me?
Questions? Also, the fire district report.
Have not met yet this month. They're going to meet probably at the 6:10.
28th.
21st, sorry. Yeah, the third Thursday, 21st. 6:10, 6:30.
Right. Planning and zoning. I guess we'll have a report next time about it. Do you have anything? Right.
We only have the one thing on the agenda, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. It's all.
That's what's that.
They're not gonna wanna know the urban.
I think we settled that. Didn't we?
So yeah, that's gonna be this Thursday at 7 o'clock. And the tree commission, they were supposed to meet this Thursday, but they canceled. And records, we haven't done anything with records, correct?
Tree commission. Did everybody? I sent an email out to everybody today about the trees that were going to be removed.
I got it.
I think I sent it to everybody. I didn't. I meant to. Okay. All right. AEP and some of our trees that we're taking down too.
They're coming back in, do it soon, or really did.
They've done some. They're probably gonna do two more.
Last time they were in, they marked one on my property or near my property. I don't know what it's on or near. They didn't take it down. It's dead. If it falls, it would take down the main high voltage lines that go down through the easement down through there. So I'm afraid to mess with it myself. So let me send you that first. It's got 2 blue dots on it. So they didn't take it down. They marked it last year.
Some of them had red X's on it too. I don't know who's marking.
I have one with the blue top. Take it out.
Sorry.
No, sure. Okay. Okay, we'll proceed to the motions. First reading is by the sponsor is McCreary, and it is resolution 2020. Resolution granting special use agreement to the Baltimore Downtown Restoration Community Committee for the use of various village facilities for the winter market.
Yes, Mayor. So resolution 2020. This is in regards to the BDRC, which is the Baltimore Downtown Restoration, is proposing that we have a winter market. It is to be held on December 2nd. Should things go through?
Perfect. Starting first reading, the second reading that we have is 2020-15 ordinance amending chapter 1024.06 of the Baltimore Codified Ordinances, sewer and water charges, payment and late payment, and the declaration of an emergency. The sponsor is Ms. Litz, and she's not here tonight. So that will go for the third reading. And our third reading, resolution 2023-15 by Mr. Cosgray, the resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Fairfield County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and the declaration of emergency.
Right. That's the resolution to agree to income tax collection, essentially. It's not property tax collection. That's what it is, sorry, property tax collection. Great. So I would like to make a motion that we adopt the ordinance. Resolution, sorry, the 2023-15.
Any discussion?
Cosgray,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yes. Okay. We're done with that. Motion passed. And the third reading would be ordinance 2023-16, ordinance amending ordinance 925, 2017-2, which is an ordinance amending the traffic control map to make portion of Market Street and Basel Street intersection no right turn on red during certain time periods. And that sponsor is Mr. Foreman.
Yes, Mayor, this is removing one of the 2 no right turn on red signs at the intersection of Market and Baldwin Street and leaving one of them. And Foreman makes a motion to adopt. All seconds.
And do you have any discussion? Yeah, I do. So I was gone when you guys discussed this. There's 2.
One eastbound turning south and one northbound turning east. We're removing the one that's northbound turning east and leaving the one that is eastbound turning south.
Eastbound turning.
South.
Someone coming out into
The
town.
one we're eliminating is the one that's coming into town and turning right on Market Street.
By Weaver Hardware.
There's no real,
What was the, why did, I didn't even know there was one turning, coming eastbound, turning south. I guess I never go that way.
the only
What was
reason
the
we left
purpose of
that was
that?
congestion at the bank. I think was the only reason we left that one.
Okay.
Congestion there where the
And
bank
so
and the
you're
heavy
gonna
parking
eliminate the one,
is northbound turning east on Market because we don't see any real risk. In fact, we're better off to evacuate the cars out of there sooner than later. Because you got two cars sitting there at a red light, nobody get out of the parking lots because they're sitting there waiting on a red light, and there's no traffic.
okay. I do have one comment about this though. Well, I guess it doesn't really, but there is a truck, now I guess I haven't seen it recently. That is parked at that intersection, a red truck, but the rear end is out in the lane coming up the hill. And I mean, I see that as a problem.
At the dojo. Sitting parking
At the
head in at the dojo.
There's a dojo in there. the
There's a
Weaver building.
dojo in the Weaver building.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes. Okay. But anyway, I guess that's irrelevant to us, so I'm okay.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Foreman,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yes.
Motion passed. Our next ordinance for the third reading is 2023-17, an ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances, providing for the adoption and publication of the new matter in the updated and revised codified ordinance, repealing ordinances in conflict therein, and the declaration of an emergency, and the sponsor is Mr. Foreman.
Yeah, Mayor, this is usually just like a housekeeping ordinance and it's up for third reading and the foreman makes a motion to adopt. Gallo seconds.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Foreman,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
McCreary,
Yes.
Cosgray.
Yes.
Motion passed. Then the next one. Third reading. Ordinance 2023-18, an ordinance authorizing the village administrator and fiscal officer to enter into a contract with Spire Paving for LLC for the Brown Fremont Streets resurfacing projects and the declarations of an emergency, and the sponsor is Mr.
Mayor, we've been talking about this all summer long and everything, so I move that we adopt ordinance 2023-18.
Second.
Foreman second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Schaffner,
Yes.
McCreary.
Yes.
Motion passed. There are no table ordinances. Do we have any old business?
I do have a question about something that we brought up before we left, about checking into different light poles for out here. Remember, you talked about like the electric antennas. Did that ever go anywhere?
I don't think so.
I don't recall that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Changing the street lights.
Changing the streetlights to be prettier.
More
Oh,
aesthetic.
I don't remember.
I mean, I think it was in regards to the conversation that we had about how the electric company doesn't actually meter us.
LED and
Oh,
potentially
yeah.
solar and all, just other options that
Yeah.
might save us money, but,
Changing the poles themselves. I don't remember that. Regarding going into LED, they're gonna put LEDs as they burn out. And I just signed an agreement with AEP not too long ago to hopefully save us some money. And we're good. AEP rep came in about a month and a half ago, who said there's a program that I was already enrolled in everything but the streetlights. And I showed him the agreement I had with another company that we're in locked in till 2026. And I told him, but they couldn't do anything with the streetlights. And I showed him our streetlight bill. He took it back to the office, came back and gave me a proposal. Not the same rate as what we have, but a little bit higher, but not much. All 0.059, I think it was, is the rates for the streetlights, and that goes in effect this month. And so hopefully that'll save us some money on the streetlights. But we won't know that. I won't know that until next month.
Any general business? Do we have any new business? We do not have any visitors left. Last call. The next meeting is going to be held on the 4th of October.
No,
Oh, September, sorry.
didn't change the date there.
September 25th to 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Makes a motion to adjourn.
Second. Thank you.
You're gonna bring up the village map. Yes.
Besides back on the scene on Thursday, have you heard anything from Brenda regarding Rosati? If not, I'll call him to see, like, have we heard anything, any follow-up in regards to the
Not lately. I talked with